Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Andres Rodriguez, and today we will present Inside Energy Pro. We are from ABB, and we will present how it's enhancing energy efficiency from ground to cloud, how we manage to do energy efficiency starting from the field, and how are we using AWS Power Platform to do responsible energy management with cloud applications. So to start with, my name is Andres Rodriguez. I'm Global Product Owner for Cloud and Digital Solutions in ABB. And well, let's start with some context information. So today, the energy landscape has been increasingly complex due to the integration of different renewable and energy loads. For example, energy meters, EV chargers, third-party devices, PV panels. There are, let's say, a broad variety of devices that needs to be integrated and that makes the energy landscape within different applications very complex, especially for businesses with high rising operational and maintenance costs. And all this information is happening at a business level, so at a building level. So imagine, it is already complex landscape for one building. Now imagine for multiple buildings or multiple businesses that have to deal with different stakeholders, with different devices, with different type of use cases, with different type of energy needs that make the overall energy landscape very complex. So for this reason, we have developed a new cloud-based solution for energy management that enable us to do intuitive multi-site energy management. The possibility to aggregate data from different sources, different locations, different facilities, and to do this overall energy management less complex. Moreover, this integration and this possibility allow us to give transparency and to clearly communicate with relevant stakeholders energy data, energy parameters in a transparent way that they can also use not only for internal purposes of the company to share communication with their internal stakeholders, but also externally. For example, with regulatory entities or governmental entities that are in charge of monitoring that facilities comply with energy and sustainability regulations. So let me introduce you to the solution with a video. Okay, so from this video, you see a very good quote that when we say enhancing energy efficiency from ground to cloud, but what we really mean with this. So let me explain you a bit the concept of this. On the slide, you can see how our system works. So here I have a sample of our control unit that I will redistribute to you so that you can have a touch and feel with this. Thank you very much, so that you can have a look and feel with the solution. And so basically we as ABB have this electrical hardware installed on the different facilities in the electrical cabinets and is in charge of gather all the energy data coming from the field. With energy data, we mean data coming from energy meters, power meters, EV chargers, electrical utility meter, gas and water, and potentially any third-party device that communicate through Modbus TCP or Modbus RTU protocol. So from here, we are starting from the ground, collecting all this information with our control unit, the SU200, that is the one that my colleague is sharing, and you can have the chance to feel it. Is the main control unit that process and gather all this data, this information, and can also send this data to the cloud. So it's an IoT device itself, it's an edge gateway that allows to communicate to the cloud by sending this data, and is the new cloud solution that we are presented here today. It's powered in AWS platform, it's called Inside Energy Pro for energy management purposes. So basically, we start from the field devices with monitoring the data from the field. Then we have a bridge and networking layer, interoperability layer. When they have a different module ranges, we have our control unit and a broad range of communication protocols that enable us to do this communication possible. And we have the edge compute gateway, which is the SU200, as I was mentioning before, that enable us to arrive to the software layer, starting from a local monitoring in a local web server, or also scaling to the cloud. So let me dive a bit in the cloud analysis or in the cloud functionalities that we can also present. So here, this is an overview of our cloud application and the different sections that it offers. But how our cloud solution is helping customers in achieving their energy savings, enhancing their decisions to do benchmark comparisons and other relevant information. So starting with dashboard, the first category of the application, the dashboards allow customers to perform customizable dashboards that they can create with a customizable broad range of widgets, starting from energy monitoring widgets, general widgets, or third-party widgets for gas and water monitoring, for CO2 emissions, monitoring of CO2 emissions, for example, and a broad range of widgets that our customers, depending on the things that they want to monitor and that they want to tailor according to their application, their specific visualization, they can use all the aggregate data to do remote monitoring actions. Properties is the category that enable us to scale a bit the energy management landscape. Why to scale it a bit? Because the cloud solution allows us to integrate these different data sources, no matter the location, no matter how many facilities do you have. Let me give an example. When there is a typical scenario could be commercial shops, for example, where there is the possibility not only to monitor one commercial shop in one location, but the possibility to monitor maybe different shops located in the region, in the country, or even worldwide, for example. So to give a comprehensive view or a comprehensive reporting of how the overall shops or performance of these franchises is going in an overall scale. So through the properties section, there will be the possibility to oversee all the properties and facilities that are connected to the license, and it will also allow the possibility to users to access the specific details of the property. Why is this important? Because when you are managing a broad variety of properties and you identify that probably there is an incident or something that you need to address critically in one specific property, you can also access to these specific details to access key contacts of that property, to see which assets are connected from that property and take decisions accordingly. Asset management section is the section where you can keep track of all the connected devices. So basically it will give you a comprehensive list of all the devices that are connected to the different properties, and when it is possible also to create grouping functionalities. Why is grouping important? Because grouping allows customers also to understand patterns and behaviors of a specific group of devices. Let me give an example. Imagine that we have 100 shops connected, and each shop, for example, have certain EV chargers, just to give an example, connected to them. Maybe someone is interested to understand how EV chargers are behaving as a whole, or in one location rather than another one. So there will be the possibility to create a group of all EV chargers from the 100 properties. And through grouping, it will be possible to do this analysis through the widgets, visualization, and reporting to further understand this. Control section. Control section is a very interesting section because it will enable us to do remote controlling actions, which is a very interesting feature to avoid critical incidents. In the release of this solution, we will include control functionalities mainly linked to electrical distribution and energy distribution ecosystem. How our system works today in the previous architecture that I mentioned, we have dedicated input-output modules that work with analog signals, input or output. So from the cloud, it will be possible to do manual actions where we can close and open through input-output signals certain ports linked to our devices, and these devices are connected to loads that understand analog signals. Just to give an example, we have smart accessories within the energy distribution ecosystem that can turn on and off breakers in order to avoid overload, in order to avoid short circuits, or in order to avoid any critical incidents. So this is very important. But not only manual control, we can also talk about automated actions. What we refer with automated actions? Automate actions are predefined logics that our customers can configure in the application to avoid incidents and don't have the possibility to do it manually in the moment. How does automation work? It is based on when, if, then logic. When Our customer can set when they want this automation to happen. They give a schedule, certain dates, certain hour. If is the condition, just to put an example, a condition could be if the consumption of my property, of my building, is exceeding X value, then is the condition. What will happen? So the action, sorry. What will happen? Please turn off this device, close this port, do something. So these predefined actions are very useful also in order to avoid critical incidents. Jumping into property services, we also offer the possibility to do benchmark analysis. Benchmark analysis is another very interesting functionality, also scaling, that they can monitor different properties. So benchmark analysis will enable them to do analysis between properties, groups, and devices, and to understand patterns accordingly. So they can compare the consumption of different properties, the consumption of different groups, or even personalized metric of certain devices, like energy meters, if they want to compare energy values, EV chargers, if they want to compare their consumption, or the different metrics that every device can communicate to our system. There will be also possible to configure contracts and tariffs in the property service section, where our customer can keep track of all the contracts and tariffs linked to the devices, to the properties, to the groups, and so on and so forth. Alarms. Alarms is a very important section because it will enable customers to be notified in real time in case of any critical incident. Similarly, here the logic is that our customers can place a condition. Same example as before. For example, if the consumption of my property exceeds this value, please notify me. Send me an email or notify me via the application. Moreover, it's important also that we add the functionality to acknowledge this alarm. And this is important because alarms are typically a critical section. So we need to ensure that our customers, whenever they have an alarm, someone is taking care of it. So customers and the users that are using our application needs to acknowledge, and they can also export all this information, even at a historical level, so that they can do further analysis of critical incidents if they happen on the past or if they are happening right now. Reports, lastly. Report section will enable us to do effective, transparent, and efficient communication towards internal stakeholders or external stakeholders. So our solution will have a comprehensive list of reports, customizable reports, but also predefined templates of energy consumption and cost reporting analysis. Why is this important? Because internally, some internal stakeholders can be interested in knowing the overall performance of the business. If you have 100 shops connected in the country, maybe general management can be interested to know what is the energy behavior of these 100 shops in the country. So through these dedicated reports, aggregating all the data coming from the different properties, it will be possible to communicate them a clearly transparent overview of the consumption for all the properties for a specific period of time. In a similar way, cost reports will be useful for the similar purpose, but from the cost perspective. How much cost consumption I'm having, which are my cost savings, and what are the main enablers of those costs that I'm seeing reflected in my monthly bills. Moreover, as external stakeholders could be regulatory entities or governmental entities. Why is this important? Because if our customer want to be compliant with certain sustainability regulations, an example is the ISO 50001, you need to demonstrate your energy behaviors, and a way to do this is through reporting. Reporting is a tool that enables to be compliant with this type of regulation and makes our solution a good fit to enable also our customer to be compliant with sustainability purposes. So this is at a glance, let's say, the different sections of the application. Let me now showcase you a little bit the overview of how our solution has already have certain impact in some commercial offices of ABB. But before introducing the impact of our solution in ABB, I want to provide you a context of what our facilities are doing in terms of energy management. So we as ABB Energy Management is not a new topic, of course, and our facilities nowadays are in a net zero journey toward net zero emissions. This is a topic that is not new. This initiative with already some cloud solutions in the energy management field started back then in 2019 in Lindesheim. Sorry for my pronunciation, here in Germany, in 2019. And throughout these years and the plan that we have as ABB is to keep expanding this initiative with more and more facilities toward the net zero emissions. So this is just to give a context of what ABB is doing in terms of sustainability and energy management. But separate of the net zero initiative, on top of this solution, there are some challenges that commercial buildings from ABB were facing and were looking for in the energy management landscape or ecosystem. One of the challenges was to upgrade the installations with limited impact. So the possibility to jump into digital solutions in the energy management field, but with limited impact on the buildings and guaranteeing continuity of service. Another one was the remote monitoring and control actions, the possibility of not having just a local visualization where you need to be connected to a local network to track the performance of the installation, but the possibility to actually monitor the performance of the installation and take decisions even from remote. Benchmark analysis between sites was another characteristic that our facilities were looking, so the possibility to do benchmark comparison with other facilities among devices, and the possibility to learn from best practices. That is one of the key value proposition of doing benchmark analysis, to learn from the key success driver from others to apply to other facilities as well. Keeping stakeholders informed, as well as reports on KPIs and aggregate data, it was another characteristic. So similarly to the example that I was mentioning before, another challenge that our facilities were facing is to provide a comprehensive report of the overall performance of different facilities through a single tool or through a single dedicated application that enabled to do this. Now, how does Insight Energy Pro has been useful to these commercial buildings within ABB to target these use cases? First of all, with our flexible energy management system. So as we have the chance to see in the architecture overview that I present later on, a very strong value proposition of our system is that it is a very flexible system, starting from a very simple device, very space-efficient device, suitable for different type of application and segments. There is the possibility to have limited impact on the installation because you can plug this solution without interrupting the existing setup and add, based on the use case, specific modules or specific requirements, but that do not require to shut down entirely the installation. So this is something that can be done on top of the regular operations, and that enables minimal impact in the installations. So it's space efficient, the modular system enabled to do this. A second value proposition is the accelerating for decision making through an intuitive UI, which is a strong value proposition of our solution as well. Why this? Because we have noticed that sometimes in the market, there are cloud-based solutions of energy management that tend to be complex. Sometimes there are solutions that if you are not really an energy expert or a very technical person, it's really hard to configure these things and to get the right insights for the application. And a strong value proposition of Insight Energy Pro is actually this, to have an intuitive user interface, to have something that is easy to use even for people that are not expert in the field. So even a community manager, a real estate manager, a facility manager that is not expert in energy, but that anyhow needs to deal with the overall energy reporting or the monthly bills, is able to do this. So accelerate informed decision making through an intuitive UI and customizable dashboard, and perform benchmark analysis, as I was mentioning before. The possibility to integrate different offices and learn from best practices of what some offices are doing and some others not is something that is scalable and that has also been very beneficial for the facilities. Lastly, the reporting functionalities, as I was mentioning, the possibility to aggregate data to provide comprehensive overview to different stakeholders has been very beneficial because it allows to give a very complete framework of how our facilities are doing, what can come next, what can come for the future, and how the business can also scale up in terms of energy efficiency. So this is some of the impact that the solution has had in some of our offices in ABB, but not only that. So I want to present you also how our solution can scale also to different type of application, and which is the core of the solution itself. So the solution is applicable for commercial buildings in general, but there is a broad variety of application and use case. In the commercial setup, we can talk about retail shops, chain of franchises, commercial districts, commercial buildings, governmental buildings as well, municipalities, schools, government, every type of commercial buildings that deals with energy management can be or real estate owners, for example, is a potential candidate for our solution, is very addressed to the target needs, and also jumping a little bit into multi-dwelling is also a clear example into the real estate. So multi-dwelling complexes of building, groups of housing communities that they want to understand the pattern of the different facilities, the different houses, the different buildings, how they can aggregate all this information, and how can also understand the single behavior of each tenant, of each building, of each business at the same time. So for the solution, let's say for this type of use cases, there are different possibilities. Simplify multi-site operations, as I was mentioning before. So the possibility of having through a single platform, the integration of different sites. To leverage on energy data insights coming from different energy data sources. The possibility to enhance energy efficiency by the complex integration of different assets. Because if you don't have the right tools to integrate all the data and all the devices that are on the field, it's really hard and gets very overwhelming, the complexity of the energy landscape, and implement the reporting system that can strongly help our customer to achieve their purposes with internal or external stakeholders. Okay, but this is, let's say, at a glance, what our solution looks like, but it's not the end of the journey, of course. There is a huge step ahead of us still. An example is the AI for energy optimization. So now, by having a cloud-based solution, we can leverage on digital technologies and AI optimization to further give more insights to our customers through AI. How? With advanced functionalities. An example is energy forecasting and peak shaving algorithms. How does this work? If we have the possibility to leverage on AI to understand historical data, to provide recommendations, or to integrate other data sources that enable us to do energy forecasting, give our customer a visualization of what is expected for them in the coming week, in the coming days, in the coming month. This will give real value to the customer for the future and will simplify also the manual work or that is prone to error as well if they do not have the right tool and the right elements to do it. At the same time, we can leverage on API integrations. And here again, the possibilities are really endless. We can really leverage on a broad variety of external data sources or cloud applications, not only within the ABB ecosystem, integrating other cloud applications already existing in ABB, but also external partners or external data sources that can enrich our analysis. One example of this could be, for example, dynamic real-time on energy prices, the possibility of integrating based on country regulations or local regulation, different type of databases where we can access real-time prices of electricity that we can integrate in our application will give customers real insights of what they can do in terms of optimizing their energy efficiency and achieve cost savings. Why? Just to give an example. If we are able to understand how much electricity costs in a specific hours, in a specific minutes, or in a specific time frame according to the specific country regulations, our system will be able to provide effective recommendation on when they should turn on the loads, when is a bad time to do it, what did you do wrong, how can you improve. So the possibility to leverage on cloud technologies and AI optimization is really, let's say, a very strong value proposition that our solution will count on also in the future and will enable us to achieve significant energy optimization and cost saving to our customers. So yeah, thank you very much. So this is what I wanted to share today. Please get in touch with us if you have any doubts, any questions. We will be happy to address them. Yeah, thank you very much for being here.